All right. Well, thanks again for joining us, everybody. This has got to be our 14th monthly market update in a row, I think now, that we've done. And again, I appreciate you guys coming back. Actually, I really appreciate last time I called you guys out a little bit and I said, who is on live and who has watched this multiple times? And it was really great and humbling to see how many people have tuned in month over month. Not just consumers, not just our Redline agents, but other agents as well. So again, that means we must be doing something a little bit right. So we will try to continue to work on that. So as we're live, and we're just finished January, we're into the beginning part of February, 2017 is behind us, and people are trying to wonder, what's the market like today? And that's what I want to hit on. If I could summarize, now, actually, before I do that, I said in the title for today, is our market as cold as the winter and as our weather? Yep. I don't actually have anything super interesting to say about that, but at least that got you here. But no, the weather is much worse than our market, so no stress here. Let's get that off the table right from the get-go. So yeah, but if I was to summarize this entire month of January in a few simple words, those words would be, actually no, let's hit them with a video instead, because I think that explains things a little bit better. So why don't we cue the first little video? Obama, he made it. So if I'm going to describe this month, Obama says it a little bit better than me. I'm a little bit bored. I am so bored. No, but seriously, let's whip that one off, Dave. Throw up the second one. But if it's not, I'm so bored, but KQ the next one. Awesome. Yes. Awesome. Now I'm going to add some context to all of this. These are much funner than words, and we can thank the internet for that stuff. So let's add a little context to those videos and to those messages. December and January are year over year, year after year, slower months here in Calgary and area than all the other months by far. This year is absolutely no different. For the most part, we had about the same sales in January as we did in December. And we look at year over year how we did, it's generally a bit of a mixed bag. Some price points, some areas are up, some price ranges are up, and some are down. Some are unchanged, and some had major swings, right? But honestly, none of this and all of this doesn't mean much of anything right now at this point, because it's really hard to predict any sort of trend based on what's happening based on December or January's numbers, because there's just so few sales, so few data points, and that don't give us a great indication of what's to come. So that's something obviously we're going to continue to look at. One thing that is happening, however, is the best performing market of all of 2017, which I mentioned a lot, which was the detached market segment. It always and all year long last year had the lowest kind of set of inventory. The sales year over year really increased quite a bit, which was allowing it to be extremely stable, and even some parts of the market increased. But that market is actually starting to slow down a little bit finally. We're seeing that the days on mark are creeping up. I think with detached, no, don't quote me, I'm a stats guy, but don't quote me, 48, I think, to 55 as far as days on market right now as we finished January. We're seeing days on market, like I said, increase and the inventory climb. Now the apartment market is again positioned, like most of last year, to see continued declines based on the high inventory that it has. And this start of the year is no different. It maintains a very high level of inventory with more to come. And sales still are not high enough to offset kind of the inventory to stabilize that market just yet. Now the attached market is doing the best right now. It's had a modest inventory bump, not as high as the detached, and sales are increasing right there with it. So, it's kind of being predicted as the best performing market sector in 2018. So we will see. Now, further to that though, the attached market is a bit confusing for some people. This is broken down into two different market segments, and that's number one is the semi-detached. That's things like infills, right? And then row homes also fall into this category, and that's townhouses, right? That kind of walk-up product. There is actually a huge difference between both of those, so that's something that you need to be aware of if you find yourself as a homeowner in the attached market segment, or if you're a buyer that's looking to get into it. Things are completely different, and I'll elaborate just briefly here. Semi-detached, 19% up in sales, 19% up in inventory. They're pacing about the same, so we're seeing flat days on market and overall flat month of supply changes. Now the row home market, the townhouse market, completely opposite. It's down at 2% increase in sales, 4% in inventory, and it's seen a bump in its days on market by about 10%, as well as its months of supply. So it's a tale of two different markets, and that is something that, again, like I said, you just need to be aware of if you are looking for something in that world. What we're seeing as a kind of a macro trend right now is very similar numbers this January to the last 3 Januaries. So what we're used to feeling, feel it again. So the story is more of the same, more of the same. The only real difference is we're seeing inventory a little bit higher than we'd love to see. But again, it's too early to determine if this is going to stay or it's going to start to get absorbed by the up-and-coming new sales that are going to be in the spring market. So it's pretty typical that we see a pretty big jump in sales activity from the lull of the year, which is December, January, into February, and then on into March and beyond. So what does all this mean? If you're a seller in this market right now, more so than most of last year, I'm here to tell you, you need to be spot on with your pricing. With buyers slow to come out of the gates, now this could be because of the mortgage rule changes or just the time of year, and inventories higher than we were at this point last year, buyers have a lot of choice. They know this. It's definitely not the time to be playing games with the market if you're a seller, if your real intention is to sell. Because if you are playing those games, you're probably going to lose. Now for buyers on the other side, this means right now you're in the power position. Those that are unfazed or unaffected by any of the mortgage rule changes and are really itching to get out there and buy your first home, buy your transition home, whatever that might be, you have the ability to benefit from a great value play right now. So look for that. There is great opportunities to get a great home at great prices right now. So now for all of those that aren't in the buying and selling worlds right now, which is probably about 95% of consumers that aren't currently in the transaction, just know that things are stable. We're not expecting much of a change, just like we're not expecting much of a change as far as the overall economy here in Alberta and specifically Calgary. So again, just be along for the ride. Don't have to worry or stress that your equity is going up or down or anywhere. It's going to be pretty much as it is most of the year. Now, if I were to look at different price ranges quickly and try to find a highlight price range where things are just accelerating beyond others, there's not a ton of them. There's a handful of standouts that happened last month, and I think it's around the affordability idea because the mortgage rule changes has affected a few people that were leveraging as high as they could to purchase their first homes or second homes. Is that 350 to 400,000 range really saw a huge bump, nearly a 30% bump year over year as far as how many sales in that price range happened. So I think that's definitely speaking to the fact that people are looking for affordability. Now beyond that, if I look from price ranges from 100 all the way basically to $1 million, that one, and then the price ranges between 6 and 650, those are the two highlight ranges. Everything else, give or take +3, -3, +7, -7, not a lot of changes year over year, but there's a few that you just need to that might creep up into what you're looking for or you're looking to sell. So just be mindful of that. Now, one thing I love to do is talk about the hottest market segments and the best performing market segments. So I'm going to do that quickly now. But again, not a lot has happened in January, right? It's going to be a slow month year after year as it was this. So there's nothing really to get too excited about. But among everything, now when I say among everything, that's detached homes, attached homes, semi-attached, and row houses. That's across the north, the northwest, the south, the southeast, the west, all of these markets. When I take all that into account, most things performed pretty much similarly, which means that almost in every situation, sales did not, so there was nowhere near as, sorry, I can't even speak now. But what I'm trying to say is that new inventory and sales, there was only up to about 50% of new inventory got sold in almost all of those markets. The one outlier, though, is the semi-detached product in the southeast. It nearly sold everything that came to market. So interesting, it's about the only one that's standing on its own. But it's good to know if you're a homeowner, home seller of that type of product right now. Now, as far as appreciation goes, that's again another indication of best performing markets. Again, not a lot to write home to mom about with this stuff. We range across everything from -3% year over year to +2%. There's not a lot of swings going on here. So again, don't stress, don't worry that things are going to change much, because they're not. The segment that I have the most fun about is hottest communities, because we like to dig to the very localized data so that we can provide as much real data to our current buyers, sellers, and the consumers alike that can be as localized as possible. Now, I have a problem. I did not get the data from Careb. They did not produce it to me. I found errors, actually, and I'm waiting to get some more information. So what that means for you is you have a chance to listen in again, as I'll do another live talking about just specifically Calgary's hottest communities coming out in January. So just watch for that. So I wish I had more exciting news to relay, but I'll leave you with this. Oftentimes we look for the big ticket or the big bit of news. Oh, see, Obama's back. Oh, I'm so bored. Okay, Dave, I'm not done yet. Get Obama off. But yeah, oftentimes we look for the big ticket or the big bit of news. But when things continue along at a very even pace, it's actually really good for the overall consumer. This allows us to make our plans, especially at this time of year. This is important. This allows us confidence in making major life decisions where our real estate is impacted. The last thing we want when making big life moves, like job changes or upsizing because of our family growth or downsizing because of needs and financial changes, the last thing we want is uncertainty. So you can put Obama back on there. Obama saying, "I am so bored," is a really good thing for us right now. Even though our market isn't quote unquote sexy, to me the sexiness is in that stability. And that's where that gif about awesomeness is one that I want people to know, that it's good that we're here right now. In a world where we've come from incredible highs over the last decade and big lows, right, some of the recessionary periods, plus more big highs and more lows, and now we've come out of those. I think it's fair to say we could all use a little bit of peace of mind, and this is what we have right now. So I would say you can expect things to remain very steady and much the same this year for the majority of the market segments. Go out, make your plan, get excited about it without a lot of fear of change. He's still going. Feel awesome. We will be watching the market extremely heavily in the coming months to pull out any real trends that I think you need to worry about. But otherwise, go about your business. Please reach out though if you've got specific, localized property type, district, community, whatever it might be. information that you need to have, we're here to provide it, because there's so much out there that I don't want and I wouldn't want to bore you. But if this is important to you, reach out to us and or your Redline agent. That's it. That's all I got. So watch for the hottest communities that will come. Sorry I couldn't give this to you. Know that the title here is that no, our market's not as cold as our weather. And again, I appreciate you checking in for the first set of series of data and explanation from this year so far. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.